Welcome back to Shem's Universe. So today, guys, we're going to go over the numbers that suffer from karma the least. There's certain numbers that actually escape karma based off of the shape. A lot of people don't know this, but if you look at like how you draw out each number, you'll start to realize that there are certain numbers that really don't necessarily face karma in comparison to other ones. And we'll talk about the single digits, and I'll go over the master numbers today, because I think they both deserve an explanation as of why certain numbers behave a certain way, why certain people on their life path will get away with things, and some people just simply will not. So let's get under this. Let's actually figure this out. So, first one we have is the life path 1. Life path 1s, you guys can actually get away with quite a bit. The reason being is you have a very external number. When you draw out the 1, no matter what way you draw it out, if you go like this, I'm doing it so you guys see it on your screen, you would more so have a number that their lines never go into itself. So when you have a number where the lines don't really go into itself, it has very, very good luck, because it means that their actions don't come back to them so quickly. Karma affects everybody. Karma is a very real thing, but it affects certain life paths more than other people. That's why some people get away with crime. That's why some people can do bad things, be rude, be hedonistic, and they'll get away with it. And then some other people will do the same exact thing and they'll suffer from it like right away. And it's because of different maturity levels on your life path. There's certain life paths that are meant to experience certain things and certain ones that are not. So you have the number 1, which just has to be very power driven, very hungry, very ambitious, very leadership oriented, and very self-sufficient. But you guys can actually get away with quite a bit just by being yourself. The number 2 is one of the most debatable ones out there. For one half, you guys don't believe in the life path 2 anyways. And then the next part is the way the 2 is drawn. There's 2 different ways to actually to draw it. Right? There's the way in which it loops into itself, and there's the way which is just the straight lines which goes out. Because the standard way is the way that the lines just go out, I would say the 2 doesn't really suffer from much karma either. But it's a very emotional number. So people that have it typically, how's the best way to put this? They'll give themselves the karma. Like, they have their own sense of consciousness. Like, they'll be guilty if they do something wrong. They know. So it's not really a number that like karma needs to really deal with them. Like, they'll deal with themselves, if that makes sense. The number 3 is very obvious for you guys. Like, you should know with the number 3. It's just outwards. It's the child number. So life path 3s, you guys typically get away with quite a bit. Even if you think your life's harder, trust me, it could be a lot worse. You have one of the luckiest life paths out there. And I said this in another video, but I didn't explain fully why. I just said based off of the planetary influences and so forth. But this is also part of the reason, is that karma doesn't hit you guys as fast as other numbers. Then there's a multifaceted answer for that. 3 is considered to be a newer soul. It's not considered to be the newest soul, but it's a young soul. Somebody who has very youthful energy. And if you look at any sort of religious context, God usually doesn't bring that sort of disciplinary action to children. Like in the Christianity, it says like children under 12, like they can't really sin. So you have to look at the 3s in that sort of sense, and in the sense that obviously the government, law, things like that can still catch up with the 3 if they're doing things illegally. They can't just go and shoplift under camera and think they're going to get away with it. However, they might get like a reduced sentence compared to somebody else. Like, so the karma will still hit them in a way where it's like they sort of evade things. They get a lot of warnings. Right? It's the child. It's the child that touches the stove and burns their hand. Then their mom tells them, don't do that again. So you get that sort of energy from everybody. It's like, hey, don't do that again. Hey, don't do that again. Be careful. So karma doesn't really follow you guys too much. I'd definitely take advantage of that if I was you. Next one, number 4. Number 4 goes into itself for sure. You guys can see the way the line goes into itself with number 4. So when you draw out a number 4, you can just use your common sense and take that in. 4 is one of the most karmic numbers. What a coincidence. The reason the 4 is a karmic number is because of that fact. It goes into itself. It's half of 8, and 8 is considered the number of karma. So 4 definitely gets half of what the 8 gets in respects to karma. 4 can get away with a little bit more. A lot of people will say, oh, 4 is the number of law and order, blah, blah. It's true to a certain extent. It's a number of stability and security, material comforts. But they're hard workers. And they typically get what they deserve because of that hard work. And if you have a lot of confidence and you go out there, you'll make quite an enterprise for yourself as a 4. What you got to watch out for is is the karma that comes with doing bad things, immoral things to people. That will definitely come back to you right away. Every single action will come back to you right away, though. So you can use this enhanced karma to actually make more money, because if you're working hard and working smart, the universe recognizes that as well. So there's a good and bad part of having these karmic sort of numbers. You can bend the karma to your will, but it just might take a little bit longer in comparison to the non-karmic numbers that it almost looks like they have free will, but they still have their own challenges. But they have a little bit more free will than us with the karmic numbers. Next is number 5. Definitely not a karmic number whatsoever. 5's lines never go into itself at all. Draw a 5 on a piece of paper, you'll see what I'm talking about. There's a reason for the shapes of these numbers, guys. Like, our subconscious doesn't recognize words, recognizes shapes and emotions, right? And that's what governs our mindset. And when you look at the minds, the neurons, it looks like the same as the universe, the galaxy itself, right? It's the way things connect. So the energy with the number 5 is all outward. It's extrovert. It's why they're so social. So this can also explain personality traits, which I'll get into another video. We're discussing karma strictly today. But the 5 people, they suffer from no karma whatsoever. They're very fearless for that reason, adventurous, want to travel, want to do things. Because it's sort of the type of person that they'll see things on TV and say, oh, that bad thing happened or this bad thing happened, but it doesn't really come back to them necessarily. Like, they won't really see bad things happen to them very, very often. 5s will typically have maybe near-death experiences as well, but they typically get away. It's a very, very lucky life path to have, and if you have it, you should be using all of your energy and tenacity to get as wealthy as possible, help out as much people as possible, and bring that good karma to the benefit of mankind. Because as a 5, you have your 5 senses. The only way you can bring bad karma to yourself is by indulging in too many vices, and even that, you'll get away with it for a certain amount of time. It's pretty much just self-sabotage that gets you. Karma itself isn't even after you. Simple as that. Number 6. Number 6, as we know, people have already talked about the 6 numerous times. I've even seen this online. They say the 6 is gluttonous. It's like the belly, sort of true. Like, 6s can definitely be a little bit more obese because they have like a fine taste for luxury things, food, what have you. But with 6, it loops into itself, right? So this is, again, getting into a karmic number. Number 6 is a very karmic number, karmic energy. If you have the number 6, I'd say make sure that you're aware of your actions. Make sure you're on a very strong moral compass as you're supposed to be. It's a family number. It's a number of harmonization and unity. So if your focus isn't on bringing harmonization and peace and prosperity to the people around you, and obviously to yourself, you're going to suffer a lot from bad luck. You're not going to be very good as a criminal. You're not going to be very good doing things that are sort of out of the way. You have to live a very righteous life in order to be successful. This doesn't go for the numbers that are non-karmic. They can go either way, and it's their own actions that will show what sort of results they'll have. Whereas even if you're a 6, let's say you go do a crime, you in a life path 5 can do that crime, but the 5 will get away with it. As a 6, you probably won't. Just simply because karma will make sure there's something left out of place so you get caught. So as a 6, very, very, very careful with your actions. Number 7, very debatable number as well. It's a non-material number, a spiritual number. I'm going to get into another thing about the 7s very soon, a very special video. But the 7 is considered to be, they say non-karmic because the original way it's drawn is sort of just like boom, boom. Like, it's just straight down, or how would you guys see it? Like boom, boom. But there's also the one where they put the line across, like the cross. So I would say the 7 is quite karmic, to be honest with you. The 7 can be a very karmic number in a sense, because it's like you have to hold yourself to like almost a guru standpoint. You're supposed to be a very spiritual person, very anti-material. But a lot of 7s are quite rich because they're detached from materialism and they go for some sort of ideology or intellectualism. And that brings them to a lot of fruition of success anyways. So as a 7, what I'd say is, are you fully karmic like that? In the standard way, no. I would say you just have to because you're spiritual, but the way in which they draw the number for the context of this video, I'd say no. Like, you guys are in the line with the 3s, the 5s, the 1s, the 7s in a sense, where it's like you can get away with quite a bit. Even the 2s, like I said, you guys get away with quite a bit. So far we're at with non-karmic numbers. Before I get into like the next higher numbers and the master numbers, is the non-karmic numbers so far, if you guys are following, the number 1, number 2, number 3, number 5, and number 7. So that leaves us with the karmic numbers being 4, 6, and now number 8. Number 8 is definitely the planet with Saturn that governs it, so it's definitely all about karma. But it also has a lot to do with the fact that it loops into itself. Look at the 8. It's like a snake eating itself the way you draw it. There's 2 circles, that doesn't even have lines, it just goes into itself. It's the only number with like no lines at all. It's just complete circles. So if you put it on its side, it's infinity. What it really means is just like infinite karma. Like it means that every thought, word, and action you project into this third dimension is going to have a very impeccable effect. It's going to have a ripple effect on the universe. So you have a lot of power as an 8. You can definitely project authority, project competence and discipline, and be timely and do things in the right way to get the right results. But you have to work very, very hard. It's not going to be as easy as those other numbers I said. They can get money easier than you. So when they say 8's the wealth number and stuff like that, 8 gets money, that's true to a certain extent, but it's not easy. Like 8s don't get money easily. Saturn's a very slow moving planet. Saturn's the slowest moving planet in our known universe. So to say 8 gets money easily is a very foolish statement. It doesn't get money easily at all. It's through a lot of hard work. The number 4 is the number of hard work is 2 4s to make an 8. It takes more hard work for an 8 to make money than even a 4. 4 gets money easier. So that's the thing, guys. It's all you guys are life path 8s out there. Get ready to put pedal to the metal and work harder than you ever thought you can imagine. If you think you have to do X, Y, Z to get something done, do 20x that, because it's going to take that much more to actually even see 1% of the result you want. All right, next one is number 9, another very karmic number. It's another circle pretty much. How do I do it for you guys? Circle, down, yeah. Okay, so yeah, the number 9 pretty much is definitely the, it's about the ego. It's about somebody that's in their head a lot. We know that through other videos as well. Their numerologists have already said that. But what they're not saying isn't the fact that it's very karmic because the line goes into itself. Again, that semi-oval at the top, that semi-circle before the line goes down, it goes into itself. So there's a couple of reasons for that. Typically, 9s self-sabotage through their thought process, meaning they're very they can be very pessimistic depending on their background or cultural upbringing. And as a result, they can almost bring about negative results on themselves just because of perpetuating negative feedback loops. So 9s, you guys ground your energy a lot. The line goes straight down after the sort of head at the top. So you guys pretty much ground your thoughts into reality. So you can use that as a superpower by just thinking very positively, thinking very constructively, and you'll bring about a different bridge of results in comparison to thinking negatively or pessimistic. So you definitely use that to your advantage by thinking more positive in that aspect. And then also, as a 9, understanding that it loops into itself, just be righteous, man. The 9s that aren't righteous, they always suffer. Even the 9s that look like they're winning, like a Pablo Escobar, I always use him. He made billions, but his ego still got to him, and it's his ego that actually self-sabotaged him. If you haven't seen Narcos on Netflix, watch it. I shouldn't advertise for Netflix. That's the #1 propaganda machine in the world. But if you haven't seen Narcos, watch it, and you'll see the effects of what a 9 can do, in a sense of a person that becomes very powerful, but they self-sabotage their own thought process. They actually probably could have got away and got ahead in life, but their thoughts worked against them. All right, and then moving on to master numbers. Obviously, the 11 is pretty much non-karmic because 11, even when in the single digit way, it's a 2. Completely non-karmic. That's why 11s pretty much benefit themselves. They don't really need to benefit other people. It's the bridge. They're supposed to. They're supposed to be a bit of like a spiritual guide to people. It's considered the bridge, the catalyst. So as an 11, you definitely will do better and accrue more karmic blessings by helping others, but a lot of 11s simply don't. It's just 1-1. They can be quite self-indulged and then just do things that benefit themselves for the most part. But you guys get money a lot easier than most other life paths because you don't really suffer from the same karmic effects. Number 22 is an interesting one. It adds to 4. I'd say it's the hardest master number to have. They say it brings forth the most beneficial results. I see more 11s successful than 22s. That's the funny part in respects to life paths, at least the ones that have some sort of notoriety to them. But it doesn't mean that there's 22s that are not successful. There's a lot of them as well. And the number 4 overall is the billionaire number. So don't get it twisted. That even though it's a karmic number, they get the most money. And there's a reason, like we always say on the keyboard, the number 4 is the $sign. So in respects to the 22, if you're in the 22 vibration, you'll go into that non-karmic sort of energy where like I said, the lines don't go into itself. So you have a lot of power in that respect. You can do a lot and you'll get ahead very, very quickly. But it's up to you to actually lose the fear and the stability necessity of the 4 and get to the higher vibration of the 22 that has a grand vision, that wants to leave behind a legacy and rather die before not seeing that through. When you get there, Then you get to that point where, this is why a lot of 22s that I even personally know, they ended up a little bit evil in a sense. Like they may have had a bad upbringing, some treachery in their life, very similar to the 11s as well. And then they end up becoming evil. People are like, how are they getting more famous? How are they getting more successful? Well, it's because they're in the 22 vibration that doesn't have the same karmic effect, meaning they don't suffer from the same consequences as a 4 vibration would if they do evil things. So that will sort of explain it to you in a sense, but they'll still self-sabotage in the end if they do things that are evil. It's just karma's a little bit slower on them. Number 33 is an interesting one. I would say the 33 is very good luck because it's the third. We're in the third dimension. 33 is 2 3s. They definitely have a lot of good luck when it comes to wealth and overall influence. They definitely could be a beacon of hope to people, or they could be the catalyst for disaster, meaning like they can influence people in such a powerful and impactful way that they can either build people up or completely break them down depending on what their intentions are. So 33 is very powerful. Adds to 6. So if your base vibration is 6 and you're operating there with the necessity of family and the cooperation of others, you need harmony amongst people, you're probably just vibrating with the 6 instead of being the master teacher that you're supposed to be, that doesn't need other people, that impacts them instead. If you're in the 6 vibration, you're going to suffer from karma. So 33s have a hard time because usually you guys operate with the 6 vibration and you're not into your 33 caliber. So as a result, you guys do suffer from a lot of karmic effects. The easiest master number to have is the 11 because either one, whether they're in the 2 vibration or the 11, they have no karmic effects. So they have a lot easier time in life in comparison to the other 2 vibrations. Those other 2 are a bit higher up. They can have more of an impact on the world, but the 11s typically are just more successful because it's easier. It's pretty much as simple as that. But I'm going to discuss with you master numbers. I have a special video coming out shortly about how to actually ascend into your master vibration that I hope can bring a lot of benefit to you guys. But yeah, that should conclude the video for today, guys. If you have any questions for me whatsoever, just leave it in the comment section. Aside from that, like, subscribe. Holidays over today, guys. Peace.